Here we go.
I'm Rob Wheely, and I'm the CEO of Alloy Wheel Repair Specialists. We're the world's largest provider of wheel refinishing, remanufacturing, and wheel replacement. My dad was a car enthusiast, always working on cars of his own and new projects. That passed down to me, and it still grows with me today. Wheels have become the jewelry of the car. People want their wheels to look nice. We provide basic refinishing of wheels. We have remanufacturing facilities that provide extensive repair. We also have put all of our processes through an independent facility that's accredited. You can find those certifications on our website. We do it all. You bring your wheel to us and we'll figure it out. We strive for not just customer service experience, but customer excellence. We want to wow them so they come back each and every time. All of our technicians are trained and certified. We even have a master training course. It's important to love what you do. It's important to make employees feel a part of the team, and they're seeing the same rewards as you do. That's what helps us accomplish our goal. Everybody's our customer. The retail public, dealerships, body shops, insurance companies, warranty companies. We have a claims department. We're the ones that they call to come in and repair it. So if you find yourself in need of wheel refinishing, wheel repair, wheel replacement, or if you just want to custom color your wheels, give us a call. We'll help you find the right location, or you can go to our website. There's a locator on there to find the location closest to you.
Hello everybody, welcome into Chicagoland Speedway, hosting the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series tonight for some fast-paced, high-banked 1.5-mile action. If you're just tuning in, I appreciate you being here with me, Austin Green, here on Ghost Racing Network. The track temp is looking hot, the drivers are heated and ready to go. Let's get down trackside and get right to your race info. How about tonight we start with the starting grid here tonight. The pole sitter, it is going to go to Tracy Powers. Really good qualifying effort here, and we'll see if he can continue and maybe look for his first win of the season here tonight. Starting to his outside in second. Jeff Marble been coming off of a few good runs. He looks to continue that trend tonight. Joshua Watson starting third. He's got one of the Team Marble iRacing drivers to his outside in fourth. Matthew Cox in fifth. It's going to be Austin Fitzgerald in sixth. Row 4 is going to be Sean Kaltenbach and Kyle Oakley. Shout out to Kyle Oakley. That's a good qualifying effort, getting himself inside the top 10. Alan Pajari, 9th for Dynamic Autosports. And Jeffrey Souza rounding out your top 10. Row 6 is going to be Brian Watson and Jared Bundy. Andrew Nieder in 13th with Ryan Shiro in 14th. Andy Tico 15th. Jacob Musso in 16th. Cody Matthews in 17th. Bill Benedict in 18th. And it's going to be Thomas O'Hara and Brian Conklin rounding out your top 20. Richard Elliott and Cody Richardson both make up row 11. It's going to be Scott Glasso in 23rd with Andrew Kotska in 24th. Jeff Shutt 25th. Johnny McCulchuk in 26th. Todd Shiro 27th. Ryan Haynes 28th. 29th is going to be Glenn Grigsby. And rounding out the field tonight for a 30-truck field is going to be Andrew Russo, who is also a rookie here in the series. We'll see what he can do tonight. Pace car working its way through turn 4. That gives us just enough time to check out your race info. We are at Chicagoland Speedway. 1.53 miles in length. Track temp tonight at 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Can be very hot and slick for these guys. Partly cloudy skies, winds at 10 miles an hour. 134 laps tonight. 100% fuel as always. 3 sets of tires. No fast repair, and we are getting ready to boot, scoot, and boogie. Fast track sim racing style. Here we go. Coming to the green flag, Tracy Powers, Jeff Marble, row 1, Joshua Watson. Tyler Marble, row 2 into Geico restart zone for the first time. Green flag in the air at Chicagoland. Good even jump. Now Chicago's an interesting track here. It's very fast. We're not going to see the separation quite as quickly as we do at some of these other tracks. However, with the next gens, I'm interested to see which lane's going to be more dominant, that hot, slick track. I think it's certainly going to work an advantage to the outside lane. We're already seeing that with Jeff Marble, who does manage to hold dead even side by side with Tracy Powers off of turn 2. And can he get clear down into turn 3? He's going to send it in. Dives all the way down to the bottom. Sure enough, he does get clear. Jeff Marble, your new leader, working his way out of turn 4. Further back, we still got side-by-side racing. Jeff Marble is going to lead lap 1. Everybody trying to sort it out. Further back, Andrew Nieder, Ryan Shiro. Little side-by-side action here. The outside looks like it's continuing to move. I think maybe once the tires, it only takes about a lap for all the tires to get up to temp. I think once that happens, that'll help the inside out a little bit. But the restarts, Jeff Marble just let us know earlier that the outside's the place to be. However, he lost that lead now to Tracy Powers. I believe might have made the outside too. And shout out to Tracy running that nice looking stjude.org paint scheme. Children's Research Hospital. Make sure that you protect the cause, but hey, nonetheless, good paint scheme for Tracy Powers. A little bit further back, we'll find Matthew Cox for Team Watson Racing, one of the new additions. We've been talking about the rookie sensation here for the last couple weeks. But he kind of hides from my point of view in the sense of I don't really think of him as a rookie. See him with another good qualifying effort. He's running up front early. And I think we're going to be talking about him later in the run. Here is the 17 of Kyle Oakley. He's looking for a move to the inside of Alan Pajari. The 34, though, is still going to try to roll the top. He's going to hang side by side, and you can see the momentum from the top is just too great down the front straightaway. He is going to get clear here of the 17, although Kyle Oakley using Sean Kaltenbach's draft to keep him up there. Now, once these guys get single filed out here, at least early, I don't think we're going to see any racing that's too crazy. Chicagoland is a very racy track. I think if we have any late restarts, we're going to see a lot of 2-3 wide. But Joshua Watson, this kind of track fits right in his wheelhouse. Very fast. You got to pick guys off one by one. You got to be good in the long run and the short run. And you can see he is already sitting in 3rd place. Look a little further back here. Brian Watson, his teammate JBR E-Racing. He's been improving. Been keeping an eye on the 04 the last couple weeks. He's starting to figure a couple things out. I'm not sure if the extra practice from some of the Truck Series races that he runs has been helping him or not, but Brian Watson already up a position, currently sitting inside your top 10. Jeffrey Souza for Triad Racing Enterprises. They added a new addition here tonight as well. I believe it was Thomas O'Hara. Sure enough, it is. We've seen Thomas for a couple races now. The 07 currently sitting in 27th, down 8, not the start he wanted to get. Again, he's still got plenty of time. Further up front, though, Joshua Watson, along with a couple other guys, they're impatient. They're trying to work their way around Jeff Marble. See Tyler Marble looking to the top line, but they're not going to be able to do so just yet. Tyler Marble's going to give his teammate here a little bump draft down the back straightaway. Chicagoland is a little bit different in a couple ways here. The back straightaway it's not really straight. It's kind of curved. Of course, the front stretch being the triable kind of format, it's not going to be straight either. And it makes it a little bit more interesting the way that these guys run around this track. Turns 1 and 2. Kind of a big sweeping entry. 3 and 4 you can get in a little bit more defensively and still make it work. And here you go. You're still seeing 2x2 action. Alan Pajari and Kyle Oakley have not simmered down at all. Andrew Niedert's looking for more here on the outside of Brian Watson. There's the 96 of Jeffrey Souza. He's got Jared Bundy, who's having a heck of a run here early behind him in 13th. Ryan Sure watching this battle. And it's a little bit of a split here before you'll find the second pack. And watching some of these guys back here, a little surprised. Some of the ones that we're seeing back here, Andy Tico. Have not seen this guy in a while. How about the return for another one of the Team Marble iRacing drivers? We'll see what he can do. Good run early in the top 15. Now Cody Richardson and Andrew Kotska. A little surprised that these two have not found their way closer to the front early, as Cody Richardson got really, really tight off turn 2. Almost had some contact with the wall. But we've talked about Mad Sim Racing quite a bit this season. Cody Richardson specifically, he's got to win this season. Andrew Kotska has been faster than his teammate. Unfortunately, hasn't been able to quite cap it off here with a win just yet. And further back at Richard Elliott, Jacob Musso in 22nd. There's another one of the rookies, and Andrew Russo. He currently sits in 23rd position. Another good-looking paint scheme tonight. These guys came out to play. But back up front, still all Tracy Powers. He's starting to slowly stretch a little bit of a gap here. He's got it at about half a second. Now, I think if these guys can get settled out long enough, I don't know if I see that gap lasting just yet. But so far, so good for the 30 car. Got past on the first lap. Jeff Marble took the lead on that lap. Led the first lap, but ever since then, It's been all Tracy Powers up front. These two are going to stay side by side. I think Joshua Watson's going to be able to get the momentum here off of turn 2. Sure enough, he does. Tyler Marble, not much he can do about it. The Hooters 48 Camaro is going to have to jump in line, and there's Matthew Cox up to 4th position, looking for more here. Single file 3-car battle here, 4-car battle actually, if you will, and this is all the battle for 8th. Austin Fitzgerald back to one of his original paint schemes. He's currently leading this battle. He's got his teammate Alan Pajard just behind him, followed by the Team Watson Racing Machine of Andrew Nieder. JBR E-Racing's Brian Watson. Man, words are a struggle here tonight. But you can see, looking through, the field has kind of singled out. The only side-by-side battles we're really seeing is further towards the back. Jeff Shutt, Cody Matthews, Jacob Musso. Throw them all under a blanket right here. In fact, there's a couple of the Capital Auto Group teammates for No Excuses Racing. Oh, Jeff Shutt looks like did get into the outside wall just a little bit there. Let's take a ride on board. Listen to the throttle time here. Now, to be fair, these guys are saving some tire right now, so they're definitely not running as fast as they can, or you will see them on new tires. But down into the corner, mid to low 170s on the back stretch, almost up to 190s. We'll see the speed that he gets rocking up to here on the front stretch with the draft. But caught in a little bit of dirty air, but you see the seams here on the racetrack, and that's something to take note of because that's kind of the way these guys decide to run their lines. There's 3 to 4 seams. Don't think we're going to see any 4 wide, but 3 wide is certainly an option, and guys definitely use those seams as reference. But Jacob Musso's still stuck side by side here. He hasn't been able to get clear just yet. Cody Matthews, this is a good run so far for him tonight, although he's down 7 from where he qualified. A good qualifying effort usually can give you good momentum for the race, and he's got plenty of time to make up, potentially get himself in the top 20. Ryan Haynes at 39, look to the outside. Oh man, Cody Matthews got really tight as they were getting to the apex of the corner. Almost cut up into Jacob Musso. That would have been disastrous, but he holds on. As they stay side by side, we look a little further up for the rest of the field. Just about single file. Ryan Shearer looking to the inside of Brian Watson. I think he's going to be able to take that position. Now, once we get really late in this run, that's where it gets a little interesting. Guys that save tires, you got to wonder, did they save enough to maybe go to the outside and make it work, or does all of a sudden the outside lose too much grip and we see everybody go to the bottom and try to stick there for the rest of the race? That's going to be the main question. We'll have to wait till we get closer to find out. Up front, Joshua Watson has now taken the lead. Tracy Powers falling off a cliff here, and you got to wonder, has he maybe used up his stuff too much? We have certainly seen this time and time again, and he dropped like a rock in the short time that we weren't up there looking at him after he had a comfortable half a second lead. He is now back to 6th, 7th to make it, and about to be under fire from Andrew Nieder and Kyle Oakley. But as I was saying, Joshua Watson up front, Tyler Marble on his tail, and Jeff Marble, who we know always has a good long-run car, currently rounding out your last podium position. Now back in terms of pit stops, of course, courtesy of Johnny McCulchuk each week, gives us the general fuel numbers. Of course, with everybody having 100% fuel, he says the most you can go for everybody in the field is going to be probably 61 laps. That's not the main concern, though. The tires are going to be the thing that everybody worries about in this race, and you're already seeing that effect with Tracy Powers falling way back. So we'll see who can save what they've got long enough, and even if you make it the full 61 laps on fuel, you're still going to have to pit twice if this race were to go green all the way. If we get a caution at any point from this point on, then you'll only have to make 1 green flag stop. But right now, everybody's keeping an eye on that strategy. We'll have to see how they decide to go about it. Tyler Marble is still getting racy. You talk about a guy that has picked up some momentum in a big way, got the win last week at Sonoma in dominating fashion, easily the most dominant performance we have seen from anybody all season. Had the lead up to, if not over, 10 seconds. And now he races back side by side with Joshua Watson, but even if you take your mind off the fact of the 48 potentially winning and going back to back here tonight, you know, this team, they needed to start getting some top 5s going good together. They were kind of close in that points battle, trying to track down Joshua Watson. That win last week certainly helped Tyler Marble. And if they can outduel Joshua Watson here again tonight, all of a sudden, the next race or two, we might see a new points leader. Tyler Marble thought about going low. He might have got a push from his teammate Jeff Marble. But you can see he's quickly going to think better of it as he tucks back in line. This time he goes to the high side. And this is kind of that pack racing that I told you we would see. I know it's not like Daytona or Talladega pack racing, but you see how it's not really that big single file. It is single file for the most part, but it's not. Everybody's not separated by 3 to 4 cars and, you know, 2 seconds between each driver. It's this kind of this big pack. You could throw the top 11 under a blanket. And these guys are all on differing strategies. Some of them kind of went for it off the start. Some of them saved some tire. But the biggest loser, if you will, from all this is still going to be Tracy Powers. He's about to fall outside the top 10. Austin Fitzgerald's starting to get figured out, and man, not sure if you could see it there watching at home, but Ryan Shiro on the back end coming out of turn 4 got really, really loose. Held on, but man, that was a close call for the 20 car for sure. 20 laps in of 134 here tonight in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Got an interesting couple of races coming up after this. We'll bring them up to you in just a little bit. Talking about this race, though, Cody Richardson starting to pick it up a little bit, but just he's still struggling. Up 5 from where he started, but in 17th. His teammate Andrew Kotska kind of in the same boat in 16th. And Chicagoland, a lot of throttle time. Dirty air plays a big role. It's just so hard to make up the track position when you're that far back. And got to be thinking they're looking for at least 1 or 2 cautions throughout this race. But so far in the 21 green flag laps that we've run, everybody has looked really clean. Haven't seen any big wobbles, any big mistakes. The only thing we've really seen is some people maybe using their equipment up a little bit too early. But Kyle Oakley so far is impressing me tonight. The 17 looking fast. This would be his season best run if he can keep it up. Currently sits in 5th, up 3 from where he started. And Sean Kaltenbach is no stranger to the 1.5 miles either. He got the win at Kansas earlier this season in thrilling fashion when he had a ton of damage on that car, had fresher tires, and still found a way at a track that aero means so much to get the win over the rest of the field. Stole it from Joshua Watson on the last lap. No Adrian Watts tonight. Not sure where he's at. Another one of the JBR E-Racing drivers. And even though he's a rookie, arguably the second best on the team right now. Of course, Brian Watson has been picking up momentum. Richard Elliott still struggling to find his groove here in the middle portions of the season. Still got plenty of time to do so, but we take a look back and go through your running order here through the field. Looking at the track map, Glenn Grigsby, not sure if he had an issue or what, but he is now currently back in last place, sitting 30th, and he's going to be in danger of going a lap down probably before the pit cycles if we don't get a caution. Scott Glasso in 29th. He is sitting a little bit behind the main group too. Here's a little group. All these guys going at it. Todd Shiro in 28th. Cody Matthews 27th. Thomas O'Hara in 26th. Jeff Shutt 25th. Jacob Musso in 24th, followed by Ryan Haynes in 23rd. Andy Tico, 65, bright orange, blue rims, battling the 39 of Ryan Haynes. He sits 22nd. Johnny McCulchuk 21st. Richard Elliott, first car inside your top 20. Andrew Russo, the rookie, in 19th. Cody Richardson 18th. Andrew Kotska in 17th. Brian Coughlin 16th. And this is a pretty good run for Brian right now as well. I've said it a couple times throughout the season, but I still think he has had the worst luck of just about any driver. Just when he starts to do anything right, he gets caught up in somebody else's mess. We'll see if he can change the odds around tonight and maybe look to fight for a top 10 at the end of this race. Bill Benedict in 15th, Brian Watson in 14th, Jared Lundy 13th, Ryan Shiro in 12th, Tracy Powers back to 11th now. Austin Fitzgerald sits 10th. He's got Matthew Cox in front of him in 9th. Jeffrey Souza and Alan Pajari sit 7th and 8th. Andrew Neidhart in 6th, Kyle Oakley in 5th, Sean Kaltenbach 4th, and getting into your podium positions, how about Jeff Marble in 3rd? He's got his teammate Tyler Marble just ahead of him in 2nd, and Joshua Watson has now started to create that gap that we've been waiting. We saw Tracy Powers kind of do this when he got the lead. Fortunately, it didn't last too long. We'll see if Joshua Watson can change that around. And I'm telling you, Ryko has made some mean fast setups for the JBR E-Racing group and putting it on full display yet again here tonight. As sooner or later here, he is going to be trying to surpass Tracy Powers for the most laps led here tonight. Andrew Neidhart got a little tight there off of turn 4, but he's another driver making his way through the field here quickly. Up 7 from where he started. And there's another look at Tracy Powers in the 30 car. And not sure if he needs to make some adjustments or the thing that, like I was talking about, I think he probably just overworked his stuff, specifically the tires. Knowing that tires are so important here, you got to be really careful with them at first. And you know, I always like to say to driver, you can be fast, but a lot of times if you're pulling half a second on the rest of the field at a track where draft can usually keep guys close for quite a while, you might be doing something a little wrong, and in that sense, using up a little too much tire. But hey, we talked about how the draft would keep everybody closer for a little bit longer here, and it looks like it held out probably about 23 laps or so. Again, the first run here, guys are going to be able to make those adjustments during their first pit stops here on open setups. So if we get a later restart, it might last longer than that, but everybody feeling each other out, kind of that chess match of who can save the most tire, when do you make the move. Clean air always is king. So whenever you can get it, you know you're going to have an advantage over the rest of the field. Richard Elliott up a couple of positions. He's about to look either to the inside or the outside here. Cody Richardson, he's going to take it low. You see here, we'll see if he decides to use that apron. He doesn't. These guys do have the option to dive below the white line here. No out of bounds here at Chicagoland, if you will. That does count as the racing surface. And when there's not too much racing, you're not going to see guys do it. It's just a little bit of extra risk you don't need to worry about taking. But late restarts, if you can cut the track, guys are going to do everything in their power to do so. As we come to lap 30 here of 134, we are going to take our first side-by-side break of the night. We'll be right back. Back live at Chicagoland Raceway here for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series 33 of 134 laps complete. Taking a look from the blimp cam, and as always, your aerial coverage is provided by me, of course, because we don't really have a sponsor for that. Getting back down trackside, though, little action here further back in the top 5. Jeffrey Souza is in a rocket ship right now. He is up 7 from where he started, currently sitting in 3rd as he takes that position away from Tyler Marble. We'll see if he can keep charging to the front. Maybe have some contest here for Joshua Watson, who does still lead the way and has now led the most laps of this race up to this point. Expecting those pit stops here in just under 30 laps for the guys that can make it all the way. Now, guys maybe used up their stuff. We're going to pit a little bit sooner than that, and you did see during the end of your break there, Glenn Grigsby did unfortunately go a lap down. The good news, though, for Glenn is he is currently sitting in the lucky dog position. The bad news is we'll have to see what happens for the rest of these guys. Now, you know, Cody Richardson, we were talking to him last week. They felt pretty good about their super speed, or not super speedway, mile and a half package. Felt like Charlotte was a good run, had good optimism coming into Chicagoland here tonight, but so far things have just not gone in the right direction. I'm not sure if it's the track position or if he is just struggling with the handling, but Cody Richardson is now back to 20th. His teammate Andrew Kotska not really trending in the best direction either. In fact, he has fallen even further back than Cody Richardson. He is back now to 25th. Still plenty of time. We'll see what happens. And it looks like they're missing their 3rd teammate, Jerry Isaacs, out here tonight. I was wondering, Jerry was another guy that was starting to try to find his rhythm, but definitely doesn't help when you miss a race. These guys are just too fast week in and week out. Too much practice goes into it. You know, at least from up here in the booth, I always kind of sat and awed at how these guys, the amount of practice that they can fit in a week. They all work regular jobs, 9 to 5. You know how it goes, but they still find the time to, some of them, I think, probably put in 10 plus hours of practice leading up to the race. That shows just how dedicated some of these guys are, but it shows and it does pay off during the race. Now here we go. This is a little bit of classic Jeff Marble here. He has passed his teammate Tyler Marble, and Tyler Marble has also passed Jeffrey Souza again, who now falls back to 4th. But this is a long run. You know, Jeff Marble doesn't usually get these, but we are approaching. In fact, we're kind of already in that long run stage of this race. So we'll see. Can Jeff Marble, maybe he's got over 2 seconds of time to do it catch up to get to Joshua Watson, but he still has plenty of time before we pit. In fact, over 20 laps, so we'll see what he can do here. Andrew Nieder, currently your last car inside the top 10. Alan Pajari, you know, it seems like he might be one of those guys that maybe you try to forget about, but you can't, right? Because he got the win earlier this season at Fontana, California in a thrilling last lap. So he always is keeping himself inside the top 10 for points, and he is looking to have a chance of going for that championship later in the season. Of course, Andrew Nieder, we saw get the win at Bristol. Big win for him at a very, very important track, potentially one of the crown jewels, if you will. Jared Bundy still having a good run tonight. Ryan Shiro back in 12th. Andrew Russo, one of your biggest movers in the field, up 16 from where he started. He currently sits in 14th. Still nobody has made their way down pit road just yet. Not too surprised about it. But on this first stop, I do think we're going to see everybody fill up on fuel and take 4 fresh Goodyear tires. And if you're Joshua Watson, I think you got to just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you can tell that you got a fast setup, and at this point, you got something else working for you. That's the clean air. The blue, white, and black 01 Ryko Performance Chevy Camaro, week in and week out. He's just so fast. I mean, at this point, if we had a Hall of Fame for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series, I can tell you who the first candidate would be. Look no farther than the 01 car. And, you know, when I first started broadcasting for these guys during the Clash, I didn't see too much from the 01. You know, we saw him pushing his teammate, Brian Watson. Thought, okay, pretty good at super speedways. He got his first win. All right, here we are, middle of the season, and he has got 5+ wins now. And he's looking to tick on yet another one here tonight. And I mean, if you think about the win percentage based off races that we have over the season, he could end up with somewhere around a 25% win percentage. If he can keep it up, we'll have to see. Things are going to be wild for sure. Running down the stretch, a little side-by-side here, but Andrew Nieder quickly tucks back in line behind Jared Bundy. Here's a little almost 3-wide action. Bill Benedict, Jacob Musso, and Ryan Haynes all going at it. That is the battle for 17th, excuse me. Just Jeff Shutt's going to get involved. And there's the 07 of Thomas O'Hara sitting in the back of this group, kind of watching, feeling it out a little bit. Still one of the newer guys, so he's getting used to things, seeing how that car handles in certain spots. And Chicagoland may not be a track for everyone. It's definitely not as fast here in the next gens as it feels in the truck series. The trucks, you can basically go around this track wide open through the early run. Later on in the run, you do have to save tire, but it's just not as egregious. These next gens, you got to save tire, and they also become a handful. We've got a little 3-wide action up here. Bill Benedict to the outside, Jacob Musso in the middle, and Bill Benedict wants no part of that. He's going to back right out, says, hey, fellas, go ahead. It is way too early for me to be trying any of that. Heading up a little bit further in the pack here. There's Jared Bundy now up to 9th. Jeff Marble has taken 2nd place back again. These three have continued to trade positions, but Austin Fitzgerald has now moved up to 4th, putting Tyler Marble back to 5th. Kyle Oakley still hanging around in your top 6, still up 2 from where he started as well. Joshua Watson's gap, while it may have slowed down, does continue to increase here. And we still got a long ways to go, not even halfway through this race just yet. But as everything is kind of mellow and stuff right now, I think it's a good time to talk about the schedule and the point standings here. We don't have the setup for it this week, but what we do have is what we always have, and that's the data here to read off to everybody watching back at home. So Joshua Watson, your leader tonight, is also your current points leader. Jeff Marble in 2nd, Austin Fitzgerald in 3rd, Tyler Marble 4th. But before we go any farther, that's, Jeff Marble, Tyler Marble, those are the two that are really looking to move up with a good run here tonight. But if Joshua Watson gets another good finish, that's not going to help close the gap necessarily much for Jeff Marble. Austin Fitzgerald, he has continued to impress, especially when it comes to long-run races. Quite a few top 3s, and he could very well be looking to get another one here tonight. We talked about Tyler Marble in 4th, Cody Richardson in 5th. So far, this race not looking good for his chance at staying in the top 5. Andrew Nieder in 6th, Alan Pajari 7th. Andrew Kotska 8th, Scott Naslin 9th, and Jerry Isaacs, who of course is not here tonight. A little bit of a surprise because, you may not see him up front a lot, but very consistent. Good top 10, top 15 finishes. A couple of top 5s here and there, and 1 or 2 top 3s have allowed him to sneak into the top 10 in points. Looking at the schedule, next week we head to the Music City Nashville Super Speedway. As you see live on your screen, Joshua Watson making his way down to the pits. This was earlier than I expected, but I do like the strategy call. I think it's a pretty safe, solid bet here. And I think at this point, if you're the 01, you're breaking it kind of almost into thirds. That was the first. This is going to be the second. And then I'll have one more pit stop make the third. I think that next pit stop is probably going to come somewhere lap 89 to, no, I'd say to be more accurate, probably 90 to 100. We'll have to see exactly when he does decide to do it. And also we'll have to see if this draws some other people in. Bye week after Nashville Super Speedway, then we head back to New Atlanta for 130 laps. Austin Fitzgerald certainly likes that track. He got his first and so far only win of the season there. Tracy Powers making his way into the box as Joshua Watson pulls out, still with what's going to probably be a comfortable lead once it all cycles through. New Hampshire on July 17th. Kind of an interesting track mix. Not really a short track, but it kind of drives like it. Long straightaways, very slow turns. Then we head to the big, fast, tricky triangle, Pocono Raceway, back to Richmond, where Cody Richardson saw victory earlier in the season. Michigan, and then we head to the Brickyard. That's going to be a fun one. Can't wait for that one. Then on to our second road course at Watkins Glen on August 28th. Back to a super speedway, Daytona, for the night race. And that is probably another one of the most anticipated races of the season. The 500 is sweet, but winning the night race can be just as sweet because it's just an event like none other. But back up front, Austin Fitzgerald is your current leader. You know, this is where things get a little interesting in the sense of I'm kind of shocked to see the 74 staying out this long. Assuming that everybody is going to pit again, obviously, and I guess it just depends on what you plan on taking your next pit stop. If Austin Fitzgerald somehow finds a way to run this long enough, you got to assume maybe he tries 4 tires on this stop, but then maybe on the next stop, he changes it up a little bit. Maybe takes 2. I doubt you take none. I just think you lose too much time, but Joshua Watson on the opposite side of that, I think he's going to be going, well, we know he took 4 just now. I think he's going to be taking a 4 on his next pit stop as well. Thomas O'Hara in second, Matthew Cox, Bill Benedict, just about the rest of the field, all making their way to pit road, except for the guys that already pitted. Of course, Jeff Marble beat his teammate Tyler Marble out, and actually they both beat Joshua Watson out, but you can see the 01 now charging on the inside, looking to get those positions back. And I think if you're Joshua Watson right here, you got to try to make as quick a work possible through these guys, and if you're Team Marble iRacing, you're trying to hold him off as long as possible, try to get those tires to even out a little bit. And sure enough, Jeff Marble's going to dive down, try to take away some of the dirty air, but man, the 01 is just so strong. They're trying everything to hold him off, but now he's going to get side by side. What's helping him, though, is these long straightaways. You see Tyler Marble's hanging close enough where he can give his teammate a little bump draft on the straights. That allows Jeff Marble to get back in front of the 01. He dives down. He's trying to take as much clean air away as possible here from Joshua Watson, and this is that little bit of Chicagoland that we like to see. And it's that as long as the tires are relatively close, these guys can still stick and be very racy. Joshua Watson might be getting a little impatient now here with Jeff Marble. Looked like he tried to maybe get to his bumper, get him a little loose. Oh no, Austin Fitzgerald got really wide. He's going to make his pit box, but that's going to cost him a ton of time. A little bit of a tricky road here at Chicagoland as it kind of comes up on you out of nowhere. And let's see the mistake here by Austin Fitzgerald. He's just going to get in here a little too hot, and when he realizes it, it's just a little too late. Yeah, oh. That was a really odd look. Not sure. Wonder if he maybe blew a tire. That was really odd looking. Watch this. At this point, he looks plenty slow enough to make the pits. It just doesn't turn. Yeah, he's got the wheel max left. It is not turning. Very interesting. We'll have to see if we can get a word on that later. But either way, that's the issues for Austin Fitzgerald. Speaking of issues, looks like Jeff Shutt may have had a couple issues himself. This also going to be getting to pit road. Looks like he's trying to get on the apron early. Big checkup. Oh, Jacob Musso makes a late dive, and Jeff Shutt has to bail late. Oh, he's not going to make the commitment cone, and that is probably going to be a penalty for the 27. He is probably not going to be too happy either. He had to make an evasive maneuver. Jacob Musso, I feel like maybe waited a little longer than Jeff Shutt expected, but didn't necessarily do anything wrong either. Jeff Shutt maybe coming in a little hot. Either way, a little contact there. No harm, no foul, though, except for the fact that it's going to lose a little bit of time on it for sure if you're Jeff Shutt. Austin Fitzgerald out of that mess comes back out 9th, so you know that definitely cost him quite a bit after he had just made up as much time as he did. Those pit stops a lot earlier than I think I expected. At least some of these guys got figured at 61 laps max on fuel. We would see the pit stops more towards lap 50, maybe 55, which we're on now, but Joshua Watson let him in, and he is back out in front. He found a way to get around the Marble group. And those two still trying to do a little teamwork here, kind of sticking together I like this here. They've got similar speed. You know, one of them could pass the other, but then I think it would just turn back into the other one passing the other right back and vice versa. But if they stay close enough here on the straightaway, give each other a little bump draft, that's going to be their best shot to stay as close as they can to Joshua Watson for as long as possible. Now, I think the goal on this pit cycle here for Team Marble iRacing is don't let Josh Watson get the kind of gap that he got on the last run. Even if that means cutting it down half a second here. So on the next pit stop, even at worst, if it's only at 2 seconds, that's certainly going to help your chances. But we still got a long ways to go. A lot of things could happen, but this is certainly not look like the kind of race that has the caution feel to it. Yeah, no caution so far, so if you're just tuning in, you haven't missed anything. In fact, we really haven't even had any wrecks. Jeff Shutt and Austin Fitzgerald with a little bit of trouble getting onto the pits, but neither of them spun. They both got it woed up. Jeff Shutt, I believe, did get a penalty. Austin Fitzgerald on the other end of that just lost a little bit of track position as he did still make it in time. So Jeff Marble does now pass his teammate. Tyler Marble actually did so about a lap ago. And I think this was finally, he saw Tyler Marble was starting to struggle a little bit as it looked like the 48 had been starting to get a little bit loose. I think that's a good move and a good time to make that move for Jeff Marble. Look a little bit further back in the pack here. Everybody's back to pretty single file again. Each pit stop we have, the more green flag laps that we run, the more and more single file they get out, and the track's starting to look more and more like we're at Bristol, where we got cars all over the place. Good news for Joshua Watson is he doesn't have to contend with at least not any heavy lap traffic for a little while. Looks like Glenn Grigsby is going to be in danger of going 2 laps down here before this next pit cycle. But then you have to look pretty far ahead. But once you do get to that second pack of lap traffic here, whether it's before this next pit stop or after it, that's going to be a lot of lap traffic to contend with here as the 07 of Thomas O'Hara is working his way around Cody Richardson, who's now back to 24th. The struggles continue. Andrew Kotska up to 21st. Still not the night they're looking for. Ryan Haynes at 19th. There's Jeff Shutt, who's out a little bit of a running with the wall at least once or twice here tonight. No major contact, though. Capital Auto Group sponsor for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. You know, we don't do it enough here on Ghost Racing Network, I feel like, but, you know, even on our behalf, we like to thank all the sponsors that get out here and show support for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Strictly, in my view, because it is such a great series. These guys deserve to have the big names on board, whether it be Capital Auto Group, of course, the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist, the title sponsor, Butt Kicker, all these teams that have came on. Looking over the truck series, the iRacing flag, or the racing flag, just a lot of cool sponsors, a lot of cool products coming on board, and going to be some giveaways at the end of the season, including a Butt Kicker, and then over in the truck series, one of those iRacing flags, LEDs, those are really cool. Wish I could get myself hooked up with one of those, but up front, getting back to the racing action, Joshua Watson's still leading here. Jeff Marble is trying to still keep him within reach. Gap is now to about half a second. Again, he'll stay in that draft all the way up to at least 1 second. I would say it's pretty strong. Now, once you get to a second and a half, it's starting to kind of fade out, and past a second and a half, you're really not getting much more than a sniff of that draft anymore. And that's where, if Joshua Watson can get to about that point, that's where you're going to really start to see him make time. Now, the next pit stop, expecting here somewhere for Joshua Watson, I would say 28 to 32 laps from now. That would put us anytime between lap 90 and lap 92, maybe 94. I think it just depends. Again, I wouldn't be too surprised, though, either if Joshua Watson did decide to go in somewhere late lap 80-something. But right now, his main focus is extending this gap. He gets a little toe there off of Glenn Grigsby. And Grigsby stays high. The 01 dips low. And now that helped his gap get over that half-second hump. See what he can do from there. Going from the bottom to the top, there is a look at Glenn Grigsby 2 laps down. No longer in lucky dog position either. That is going to go to Scott Glasso, who's another guy we're used to seeing around strong, struggling tonight, but ooh, might be a little bit of a tale to tell here. Look at the right side. All banged up. Not sure what's going wrong here, and I do apologize for the noise in the background here. We got some thunderstorms rolling through. Keeping it back to on the racing action. This has been fun to watch here tonight. Chicagoland was one of the tracks that I was kind of excited for. And the restart didn't disappoint. You know, I know some of the people watching at home, it can get a little boring sometimes with the single file, but so far, this has been the cleanest start to a race that we've had all season. Cody Matthews and Cody Matthews and Cody Richardson going at it there. Little Cody and Cody show. Going back a little bit further towards the front here. Austin Fitzgerald is still sitting around in the top 10. Came out 9th in the pit cycles. Hasn't really gained any since. I think by the time this race is over, especially if we're to go green all the way, he can get himself back in the top 5. Kyle Oakley still having a phenomenal run. Alan Pajari moved up a couple spots, and now Sean Kaltenbach sneaking his way inside the top 5. Jeffrey Souza just in front of him in 4th. And Team Marvel iRacing and JBR eRacing, 2 of the most dominant teams of the season, battling it out up front. Joshua Watson leading the way. Jeff Marvel in 2nd, still hanging around 0.6 seconds away. Tyler Marvel in 3rd, and this is where that gap really starts to break open. Jeff Marvel, we said he is still kind of in reach. Tyler Marvel, on the other hand, is kind of nowhere to be found right now. Not sure what's going on, but 48 certainly struggling, that is for sure. Ryan Shiro in the 20 car. Got the splash and go graphics paint scheme. Matthew Cox, there's the rookie. He had a good qualifying effort. Down 8 spots overall. Not sure if there was a little bit of mistakes there on pit road or if just the pace is not quite there. Of course, Team Watson Racing is missing one of their teammates tonight in Brian Curry. Not sure where he's at. Wish him the best, and we hope that we see him back here shortly. 30 cars is a little bit of a smaller field than I expected here for this track. I will certainly say that for sure. I thought we'd have a couple more, but not the case. Either way, 30 cars nonetheless is a lot better than you'll see in most leagues, and the racing up front has been what everybody has come to watch. Not too much of it going on right now here with 67 of 134 laps complete. And this is going to officially put us halfway through. Joshua Watson does lead the halfway marker, just as he has led the most laps here so far tonight. And being at the halfway point, how about a little crank it up here from Chicagoland? Here we go. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. A little bit of a limited camera view here, so I apologize. It probably wasn't as loud as usual or as exciting as we normally have here at Chicagoland, but it's a little side-by-side action. They're closing out. Matthew Cox and Ryan Shiro, they're going to try to duel it out here a little bit more as Shiro dives back to the inside down into turn 3. 72 laps. Oh, man, Ryan Shiro got really tight, almost got up into the rookie, has to get out of it. And that now opens the door for Jared Bundy to try to sneak by in the 6 car. See if he decides to take the apron. He doesn't. I haven't seen too many guys on it here tonight. A little surprised about it, but the thing that continues to impress me on this run has been Jeff Marble. He's kind of turned the tides here a little bit on Joshua Watson. Of course, we think that Team Marvel iRacing did pit a few laps sooner, but the fact that even this long Jeff Marble has been able to hang on within about half a second means he's doing a stellar job on not only those tires, but the balance and the driving behind the wheel of that 15 alloy wheel repair specialist Ford Mustang. But he's going to have to try to hold about this gap for at least probably another 18 laps, which is still a big task. You know, we saw last time Joshua Watson, it kind of stayed somewhat like this, not quite this long, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, the 01 just turned on the jets and pulled away from everyone. We'll have to see what goes on about it here. Jeffrey Souza in 3rd, Tyler Marble in 4th. A little contact there to the wall for the 96 of Jeffrey Souza, who again, looking for a season best finish here tonight. When the 96 makes a race, he is certainly fast, showing that here tonight. In fact, let's take a ride on board with the 96. Now watch the speeds here. The back straightaway so far tonight has almost seemed to be a little bit faster. It just depends on where you are on the track, though. These are pretty old tires. Now, what we haven't got to do tonight that I do want to do is let's compare the lap times here. Again, this is pretty old set of tires, not the oldest we're going to see all night by any means. But how about we take a look at your leader, Joshua Watson, 32.0s, 32 flats, if you will. And we'll see what he can do once we get some fresh tires on. But the fall off, as severe as it's been tonight, wouldn't be surprised to see it at least a second and a half, if not closer to 2 seconds. Joshua Watson still leads the way here, 75 in. Going a little bit further back, there's the 27 machine of Andrew Russo. He's having another, a pretty good run for his first start here tonight, if you will. Sitting in 13th, Richard Elliott. He's starting to get his act together here through this race. The 02 machine up 6 from where he started. Sitting in the top 15 now. Ryan Haynes just behind him. The 39 car up 12 from where he started. Jeff Shutt back in 17th. Jacob Musso 18th. Johnny McCulchuk in 19th. And Bill Benedict rounds out your top 20. Andy Tico fired off on all cylinders earlier. He's starting to fade a little bit here. I think a lot of these guys would really love to see a caution here, a chance to make some adjustments. But, you know, all things considered, knowing that we haven't had any cautions and had a green flag pit stop, there's a lot of cars still on the lead lap. Looking up at the track map, Joshua Watson is going to be starting to come up on some denser lap traffic here, probably within the next 10 to 15 laps or so. But looking at the guys that are lapped down, it's only a couple of them. In fact, your top 27 are all on the lead lap. Brian Watson must have had an issue on pit road or something. He is currently being scored as the first car a lap down for JBR E-Racing. Scott Glasso, second car lap down. He is also only a lap down. And then Glenn Grigsby, 3 laps down. He would need a couple cautions here in a hurry if he wanted to have any chance at potentially getting all 3 of those laps back. But don't think that's going to happen. The 64 you see him on the apron now might be getting passed for another lap. Sure enough, he does put him 4 down. About 12 laps or so until we're expecting that final pit stop. Alan Pajari, Andrew Nieder, they're thinking about going a little 3 wide here, and sure enough, they are. Kyle Oakley on the outside. Now Alan Pajari has to bail out of it as he's not going to get to the inside. Ooh, almost a little contact there, as I think the middle line and the bottom both had to get out of it. Almost a little more contact there, but Kyle Oakley is going to hold the momentum after potentially tagging the wall a little bit off of 4. Now they're going to go 3 wide. This is what I think we're going to see if we were to somehow get a late restart. There's contact. Oh, can they save it? Oh, we're still making some more contact. A little bit of door contact there from Kyle Oakley. Alan Pajari got into the side of Andrew Neidhart as well. My goodness. And these guys finally get it sorted out. Boy, that was really, really close for a moment. And just as I had mentioned our first caution, I thought we were about to see one there for just a second, but they get it sorted out. And the biggest beneficiary is going to be Andrew Neidhart. He takes both positions away from these two. Kyle Oakley falls back a spot, and Alan Pajari is saying, well, man, I just got shoved kind of out of the way there. But either way, I don't think that's the last we're going to see of that trio going at it. Here's the battle between Jeff Shutt, Jacob Musso, and Bill Benedict. This is for 17th position, but there's a little bit more of a side-by-side battle just in front of him between Ryan Shiro and Ryan Haynes. And that is indeed for that 15th position. You can kind of see there how see if we can go to the right front here. This one's a little further back. Now watch when these guys get to the straightaway. You'll see how it's kind of curved here. See how they don't get right up on it like they do at some other tracks. That's because it kind of catches you sometimes off guard. Chicagoland almost looks more like a C on the front stretch and like a lot less curvy C on the back stretch. Back up front, Joshua Watson. And this is what I was a little bit worried about for Jeff Marvel, is this right here, what we're seeing now. Last time we were up here, we were talking about that gap. He had maintained it about within half a second. And that was probably about 5 laps ago. Since that time now, Joshua Watson has stretched it out to over a second at 1.3 seconds. Now, if you're Jeff Marble, this is where you really got to put your head down and try to dig. You got to hold on. We're probably 8 to 10 more laps here before that next pit stop. He still has the gap less than what it was last time before they had a pit stop. So he could have a good shot out of here, especially with as well as he did execute on the last pit stop. But if he lets him get too far out here in these next, now we'll make it 8 laps or so, then I think Joshua Watson would be looking to pull away. Potentially put this race, well, put everything in his rearview mirror and look for the checkered flag as soon as possible. Todd Shiro getting ready to go a lap down. If you're just tuning in tonight, appreciate you being here. The FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist at Chicagoland. And take it in for a moment. 84 laps around this mile and a half. Not one caution. In fact, I know we mentioned it earlier, but the only two incidents were a couple guys getting into pit road, a little bit of struggles, but not even a wreck. Now, we almost saw a wreck now a couple laps ago. 3-car battle between Andrew Nieder and Alan Pajari and Kyle Oakley. Those guys got it sorted out, though, and here we are, still green on lap 84. Let's look at Todd Shiro, the 3 machine, sporting the racing flags decal. He currently sits in 27th. No gain or loss from where he started. The driver out of Scottsville would certainly like to improve his position a little bit before this race, but to be honest, I just don't think a lot of these guys really expected this to be a long run race. I mean, we know that we can get the long runs, but Chicagoland, we talk about how aggressive the restarts were. The first restart was really aggressive, but everybody had kept it clean. And since we haven't really had the opportunity for another restart since then, this has just been the result. You just haven't really seen anything too crazy since that point. And the biggest battle to keep your eye on right now, although it's not necessarily a battle of side-by-side racing, but more or less a battle of time, is still between Jeff Marble and Joshua Watson. Jeff still hanging on at about 1.5 seconds here. 6 more laps to do, though, and he continues to fade ever so slowly, but kind of about 10th or 2/10 each lap. Still trying to hold on, but we're going to see how long that's going to last here. Joshua Watson, we just keep talking about it, but he just continues to do his thing. Has been impressive, easily to say, the whole season. Finds a way to, heard this quote on Real NASCAR a couple weeks ago at Dover with Martin Truex Jr. They said when he wants to dominate, he dominates. At Sonoma. That's what Joshua Watson has done here tonight and done a lot throughout the season. He's had a couple wins here where they've been in thrilling fashion. Maybe gets it done at the end on an overtime restart, or just a couple of good breaks for him at the end. But overall, most of his wins have came where he has taken the lead and not let it go for just about the rest of the races. Cody Richardson goes a lap down in 25th. And now he's starting to slowly tick more and more guys a lap down. That's just going to help his cause here if we get a late caution, as that would just be less lead lap cars that he's going to have to worry about. Quick little fun fact here that impresses me about all these guys is looking down the overall. Of course, just about everybody in here, in fact, everybody in here is an A license, but the safety rating for your top, actually going all the way back right now to your top 6, is a 4.99. And let's pause here at your top 6. Brian Coughlin. Remember when we talked about earlier in the race that he needed to find a way, but the luck just hasn't been there? But we're not going to talk too long about him because we don't want to give him the announcer jinx. But so far tonight, everything is working for this 37 team. This is exactly what Team Marble iRacing wanted to see. And Brian Coughlin now moving up inside the top 5 as Jeffrey Hughes is coming to the pits. Could potentially be looking for a season best run here tonight if he can cap it off. We talked about Jeffrey Souza in the pits. That is the first of anybody in the top 5 to go in. We'll see if this is going to draw a couple more down. Jeff Marble, I think he was able to do his job. Joshua Watson's going to come down the pitch. Jeff Marble's going to follow. You got to assume the 15 tried to be as aggressive as possible entering pit road. It does look like he might have closed just a little bit here. It's hard to say. But this is really important here. Who can get the cleanest exit? And they're going to be on even tires, so this is just going to be a battle between these two. Do you try to get the clean air? Do you try to play mind game, stick behind the other guy? We're going to find out. Jeff Marble does have the better pit stop. Oh, looks like maybe overshot it just slightly there. Oh, that's going to be a tough break if he did indeed do so, as that's going to help Joshua Watson get out a lot quicker. Oh, yeah, it looks like he did by a decent amount. Yeah, this is going to be a tough break for Jeff Marble. He's going to lose a ton of time right here. Not too bad. Keep an eye on it here, but it's definitely going to still hurt him. Getting back up to speed, he is going to have to really try to dig these first couple laps and hope that that draft's enough to keep him up. 91 of 134 laps complete. Hoping at this point that we can continue to finish this race off green, because we got some rock and thunderstorms that are getting ready to roll through. And I'm a little worried if the broadcast is going to go dark, but Jeffrey Souza back to 17th. He's going to have to wait for all these pit stops to cycle out. We got a bunch more on the pits now. Jared Bundy, Jacob Musso, Jeff Shutt. Looks like Ryan Haynes, Scott Glasso, all making their way down to the pits now. Alan Pajari still out on track. And up front, Kyle Oakley, Thomas O'Hara, they have now pit Austin Fitzgerald as well. So Sean Kaltenbach getting his first laps led here tonight. Not going to be able to lead too many because he is going to have to pit as well. But this is everybody's last pit stop, at least from what we're expecting and the info that we have. So at this point, the race is on, but not necessarily in the sense of just full throttle, go send it, but he's still going to have to save some tire, and I don't think you want to really start, if you're Jeff Marble at least, let's say you manage to catch back up to Joshua Watson here, I don't think you can really try to turn on the burners though just yet. You got to save tire for at least the first 15 to 20 laps of this run, maybe a little longer depending on just how quick they're fading. Now remember, we did take a look at Joshua Watson's lap time on those old tires. Let's take a look on the new tires. There you go, 31 flat. And assuming he probably slowed down a little bit more since we looked, that is about somewhere between a second and a half worth of fall off. Ton of fall off. But he's making it work. All right, we are going to take our second and hopefully final side-by-side break here of the night. And we'll come back here live at Chicagoland. Stick with us. Back live here at Chicagoland Speedway. 97 of 134 laps completed so far tonight. Cody Matthews taking the lead right now. Of course, he still has to make a pit stop, but hey, how about it? Get yourself some TV time. I know it doesn't matter how bad your season is. Any time that you can get out, lead a couple laps, doesn't matter the circumstance, whether it's under caution, under green. Any laps led is certainly some momentum. Now you see just the difference there between really old tires compared to really new tires, as the 10 is going to go ahead and work his way down the pit road this time. But, Cody Matthews has had a little bit of a tough season so far. So getting himself out in front to lead some laps certainly is not going to hurt his case. Jeff Marble in second, but man, that little mistake cost him. And I think it's going to cost him just a little too much, as he is already almost 2 seconds behind Joshua Watson. And that means he is not in the draft. Tracy Powers is in his draft, though. That is one of the lap cars right now. Tracy Powers, you got to kind of wonder what happened. Started off with a great night, got the pole, led himself quite a few laps. In fact, was, I would argue, maybe the most dominant car early. And then all of a sudden, it just went away for him. We kind of assumed he used his stuff up, but just has not been able to recover. And here we are late in the race, and he has now found a way to go a lap down, unfortunately. And he's going to need a caution here soon, but he is your lucky dog. Cody Richardson as well. He sits a lap down. You got to assume a lot of those guys that are just a lap down, that aren't the lucky dog, at this point in the race would just go for the wave around. Austin Fitzgerald back up to 5th. We kind of said he'd make his way back up there. That's what he's doing now. Tyler Marble, Jeffrey Souza, 4th and 3rd. Alan Pajari back here in 6th. Sean Kaltenbach back to 7th. Andrew Nieder at 8th. Brian Conklin in 9th. Kyle Oakley 10th. Brian Conklin, Andrew Nieder, these two might be getting ready to go at it just a little bit there as they go around Scott Glasso on the front stretch. 34 laps to go. It's not really crunch time until we get to 25, but that 100 lap mark as a driver starts to sink in. And what's starting to sink in up here in the broadcast booth is that there's a chance this could be the first race of the 2023 FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series that we go green the entire race. And I can tell you something, the admins would certainly be pleased about it if that were to be the case. We talk about it's nice to have a race with long green flags runs every once in a while, as it's just kind of refreshing, but to have an entire race go green, it really shows you which guys come out with the right strategies and which guys maybe struggle a little bit. I wasn't too worried about Joshua Watson. We know he knows how to get it done, whether it's short runs, long runs, anything in between. Jeff Marble, he loves the long runs, and that played right into his wheelhouse so far here tonight. He's looking to bring home a podium. Tyler Marble worked off the momentum he's had last week. But Jeffrey Souza so far would have to take my vote for the driver of the night. Came out of nowhere, looked like he was shot out of a cannon here tonight. Been running in the top 3 for quite a bit of the night. And if he can round out this top 3 run, maybe somehow find a way to go up there and challenge Jeff Marble for second, we might see the 96 all of a sudden getting some wins here in the future. Austin Fitzgerald looks like he is going to try to get a little bit more here from Tyler Marble. Gets in the draft. The 74 is starting to come to life here. Maybe the 48's just starting to fade. Kind of hard to tell. We've seen a couple guys get into the outside wall, but yeah, Tyler Marble looks like he was struggling a little bit there. Austin Fitzgerald got a huge run down the straightaway. Opted not to take it. In fact, backed off a little bit. You see he's really rolling the bottom well. Not sure if Tyler's just trying to save more tire or what the deal is. Now, all these guys did have those 3 sets of tires. Everybody has used 2 so far. So if we were to, for some reason here, get a late caution, everybody would have a set left. It would make for a crazy restart. 30 laps, though, to go here at Chicagoland. Joshua Watson has led the most, but he wants to lead all of these last 30, and most importantly, he wants to lead that white flag lap. Ryan Taft watching tonight says, coming from the spotter stand, this has been a fun race to spot for Bundy. Jared Bundy was having a pretty good run earlier. Checking back on him, he is still running pretty good inside the top 15. We'll see if he can finish off there, but he's got a couple guys trying to steal it from the Thomas O'Hara. The 72 of Johnny McCulchuk, he is now trying to work his way around the outside. No Excuses Racing has both of their drivers in this battle, actually, as Jeff Shutt just ahead. Trying to hold off that 6 car of Jared Bundy. Let's go through your running order from back to front for the final time here before we keep it more towards the front for the rest of this race. And we'll talk about how the way some of these guys this night have went. Glenn Grigsby, he has had a tough night. With multiple laps down, he currently sits in 30th position. Andy Tico making his return. And so far, not the way he wanted to go. Started out pretty good, but now down 14 from where he started. Finds himself in 29th, also not on the lead lap. Brian Watson in 28th, Scott Glasso 27th. Cody Matthews and Todd Shiro 26th and 25th. Cody Richardson for Mad Sim Racing, another one of the big 3 teams, and he's not had the night he's looked for either. Tracy Powers, he started out on fire here tonight. Got the pole, led 10+ laps, and then all of a sudden just fell back and has not recovered since. Finds himself back in 23rd. Andrew Kotska, another Mad Sim Racing driver, in 22nd. Ryan Shiro in 21st. Ryan Haynes, the first driver inside your top 20. Matthew Cox in 19th. Jacob Musso in 18th. Johnny McCulchuk 17th. Thomas O'Hara in 16th. It's going to be Jared Bundy in 15th with Jeff Shutt 14th. Richard Elliott 13th. Bill Benedict 12th. Andrew Russo in 11th. Kyle Oakley 10th. Brian Conklin 9th. Andrew Neidhart 8th. Alan Pajari 7th. Sean Kaltenbach 6th. Tyler Marble in 5th. Austin Fitzgerald now moves up to 4th. He did take that position from Tyler Marble. Jeffrey Souza still hanging around in 3rd. Jeff Marble in 2nd. 2.5 seconds behind the man who has been out in front for the majority up tonight, Joshua Watson. Well, he's getting ready here to come to 25 to go, and we talked about that's crunch time. And at this point, if you're Jeff Marble, you have a decision. 2.5 seconds back. You know, realistically, I just don't think he's got enough time to make that up. But whatever he's got left in the tank, you got to decide, do you want to use it, go all out and try to go for it? Or do you maybe just play a little more conservative and just worry about trying to hold on to second? It's still a good finish. You know it's going to be good points tonight. Joshua Watson shouldn't be able to pull away too much from Jeff Marble in points, but I know Jeff would have certainly liked to be able to get the win here tonight. It's been so close so many times this season. Man. Not too many battles going on right now on track. The biggest thing Joshua Watson does have to keep an eye on, though, at this point is going to be any more lap traffic. And in fact, we'll go up to him so you can see the little highlighted circle. You see the number 1 car. He's got a pretty big clearance here. I don't think he has to worry about any lap traffic for, I would say, probably the next 8 to 10 laps. But once he gets there, he's got a couple of cars. The only thing he'd have to worry about is if somehow he catches that big cluster that you see working its way through turns 3 and 4. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that here within the next 25 laps or not. But the 01 has just been on rails tonight. JBR E-Racing, you know, I keep wondering each week, how does he find a way to do it? The Ryko setups have potentially been the best setup shop. Now, you got to give credit to some of the smaller teams that either make their own setups in-house by themselves, if you're Glenn Grigsby, some of those guys, or even the teams such as Team Marvel iRacing. Actually, I'm not sure if Team Marvel makes their own setups. What I do know is that I believe it's Mad Sim Racing. I do believe they make their own setups in-house. So we did hear from Cody Richardson saying that they were still working on trying to get a better mile-and-a-half package. Whatever they brought to the table this weekend did not work, but taking notes, they'll go back, try to get themselves prepared. We do have quite a few mile-and-a-halves once we get closer towards the playoffs. And that is the time that it's really important to be good at it. Chicagoland was kind of the oddball race. It was going to be the Chicago street course, but of course nobody really wanted to go there. It wouldn't have been too fun here on the broadcast either, I don't think. So instead we took to Chicagoland, and it has not been a disappointing race here tonight by any means. Taking a look, though, where I head next here on Ghost Racing Network. Couple ones. The first one, this is pretty exciting here. This is tomorrow. Iceman Sim Racing League. It's going to be in the 87s. The Legends. And if you haven't seen those race, they are a ton of fun to watch and drive. And we're going to be watching them go around Atlanta Motor Speedway. Not 100% sure if it's new or old Atlanta. Either way, it's going to be a thrilling season finale for the ISRL 87 series. Make sure you don't miss out. And then, of course, on Thursday night, head back to the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series with my co-host Matthew Baker. Easily been one of the most fun series to watch. One of the most fun series to even race in, watching the guys that have done it. I'm talking big payouts. And in fact, we saw JBR E-Racing being led by this guy. They have a team running that series now. It was Joshua Watson, Brian Watson, and Richard Elliott. Shout out to those guys for it. But $16 entry. We had over 50 entries last week. And that means the payouts were way over what they were initially stated on the poster. Guys, we're very happy indeed. We're going to see another lot of great action here on Thursday. Make sure you tune in if you're just hanging around. Of course, we appreciate you being here tonight. I know a lot of people have hung around through this one. Maybe not the crazy chaotic restarts some people were hoping to see, but again, from here in the booth, it was refreshing to see a race that has went pretty much all green so far, and if it continues and is able to finish off all the way green, it would be also the shortest race of the season in terms of time that it finishes. Side-by-side action here between Jared Bundy and the rookie Matthew Cox. It looks like Jared Bundy is going to have to tuck back in line. Ooh, gets really tight. Not sure if he got in the dirty air or what. Watching up the track now. When we're side-by-side, I did see Cody Richardson tap the wall. No contact ensued from it. And in fact, still only 2 incidents being listed on the data here tonight. We haven't even had anybody do much more than either scrape the wall or a little bit of a mess up on the pit stop. 27. Richard Elliott as well, the 0-2 trying to hold off the 27, in fact. And then just behind these guys, a little bit more of a battle. Jared Bundy's going to try the inside this time. We saw him try the outside. He couldn't make it work, but it looks like Matthew Cox is going to be able to defend this move as well. Up front, though, 19 laps to go for Joshua Watson. Jacob Musso looking to make a move here to the outside of Thomas O'Hara. Nothing there. Jeff Shutt still in front of the rookie Matthew Cox. He's been having a decent run here tonight. 14th, but the big number that catches your eye is up 11 from where he started. And how about Andrew Russo in his debut race in the 27? We just talked about him battling with Richard Elliott. Currently 13th, but up 17 from where he started. Seems like he got a feel for it pretty quick. Brian Conklin is still having a good night, sitting 8th. Potentially under fire here from Andrew Nieder to fall back to 9th, but just finishing the top 10 is going to be a great run for the driver from Chesterfield, Virginia. And Team Marvel iRacing could be looking to get 3 out of their 4 drivers here tonight, finishing in the top 10. Earlier it was looking like they could have 2 on the podium, but it looks like Tyler Marble has started to struggle just a little bit here in the late going. Austin Fitzgerald has recovered so nicely that it almost makes you wonder what if. He is now back in 4th. 7, almost 8 seconds behind your leader, but man, if he didn't have that mistake getting onto the pits, who knows? Maybe the 74 would have had something for Joshua Watson, or nonetheless had enough to maybe get a top 3 finish, but wasn't quite able to close this thing off, and now he currently finds himself running inside the top 5. Jeffrey Souza is the next one on target, at least for the 74, and it's looking like he might have a shot at getting there before this race is all said and done. Either way, this is going to be a phenomenal run for Jeffrey Souza, potentially a season best. Sean Kaltenbach got the win at Kansas, got the win at Talladega as well, so he is another one of the guys that you don't maybe think about it for Team Watson Racing, though. Not only did they get one of all their drivers in victory lane so far this season, except for the rookie, of course, Matthew Cox, who's still looking for that first win. But Sean Kaltenbach, with those 2 wins, put him up there on the wins list. He's got quite a few compared to the rest of the field. In fact, he might be second in that battle. either tied with a couple of guys or leading it, or just second by himself rather. But 15 laps to go, and I got to be honest, up here in the booth, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about, because at this point, it's pretty set in stone where you're running. It's looking like is where you're going to finish, unless you got a guy probably within a second of your bumper. And Austin Fitzgerald, in fact, does. This Jeffrey Souza, he's going to look for a move here. What does he want to do? Inside, outside. Looks like he's going to the inside. The 74 has got a lot of speed here, especially in the long run. He's going to work his way by Jeffrey Souza without too much of a hassle here. I think he'll get clear down here on 1 and 2. Sure enough, he does. So that puts Fitzgerald up to third. Now the question is, he's got about 3.5 seconds from him to Jeff Marble. Can he find a way to close in, make up that time on Jeff Marble, bring home a second place finish here? No close yet from second to first. Jeff Marble has just continued to lose time on leader Joshua Watson. Take a ride on board and take a look at that track map one more time. And taking a look at the track map there. Listen how smooth his line is first. Let's go ahead and note about this. You see he rolls the bottom really nice. It looks like he gets a little tight in 3 and 4. Staying in 5th gear though around this entire track. Doesn't need to go below the white on the front straightaway. Just no need to. Get a big arc here down through 1 and 2. Look at how smooth he's able to roll it. Gets those left side tires almost all the way down to the white. Rolls back up. Ooh, looks like he gets a little wiggly there on him, but he can see the lap traffic out of his windshield. 12, what's going to be 11 laps to go. I just don't think he's going to quite catch him in time, which is, of course, good news for him. Less traffic he has to worry about, less potential things going wrong. But at this point, if you're Joshua Watson, you are just hoping the rest of the field can keep it clean, because he knows he's got everything that he needs together to finish this deal off. Andrew Neidhart has fallen farther off the back bumper of Brian Conklin. Kyle Oakley is your last driver currently running in the top 10. Little battle back here, side by side between Jeff Shutt and Richard Elliott now. Jeff Shutt trying to get clear. Richard Elliott working the absolute tippy top of the track. Haven't really seen that lane so far tonight. Doesn't work too well through the corner, but he's getting enough of a run. If he can get on the quarter panel of the 27, might be able to hang here through 1 and 2. We'll see if he can make it work, and it looks like he does. Wow, power move from Richard Elliott. Going to stay side by side for the moment here, but Jeff Shutt still rolling the bottom pretty well. Jacob Musso sticking on the top. You got to wonder if he's thinking about through wide if either of these guys makes a mistake. Going back down a little bit further up. Thomas O'Hara is still trying to hold off Andrew Russo, 2 of the newer guys in the league, going at it. The side-by-side battle is still up here, but Jeff Shutt must have made a mistake, and now he is going to lose that position yet again to Richard Elliott. And if he tries too much, he's going to have no tire left to try anymore. Jacob Musso now trying to work to the inside of Richard Elliott as well. We'll see what he can do. 9 laps to go at Chicagoland. There's a look at Johnny McCulchuk for No Excuses Racing. Austin Fitzgerald, we're still keeping a close eye on him here. And it looks like that gap now is almost down to 2.5 seconds. Maybe a little bit more, almost 3 seconds if you will, to call it a little bit closer. Again, not sure if he's going to have enough time here, but he's going to continue to work at it. You can see him almost in the same camera view. Joshua Watson has that lead now almost up to 4 seconds. Nobody near in his mirror, and nobody near his rearview mirror, and nobody near in his windshield either. 8 laps to go. JBR Racing, you got to believe, is probably leading the point standings at this point. Rookie of the Year battle, on the other hand, kind of wonder about that one. Been all over the place. We have seen the rookies been in and out. Adrian Watts looked fast at one point. Shane Parrish, he did too, but it looks like he has quit the league. Got another new rookie in here tonight. Well, Matthew Cox, another rookie, he's looked pretty good. You go back, talk about some of the new rookies in here tonight for Triad Racing Enterprises. Jeffrey Souza's teammate, he's been having a heck of a night. 227 says, hello, how's it going? Good to see you in here late in the running. Says, go Watson. Well, you can root for him as much as you want, but he doesn't really need too much of anything right now. He has got this thing in the bag at this point, bearing no caution. And I can say pretty confidently that I don't think we're going to get one at this point. Field is extremely spread out. Actually, Brian Conklin, a little side-by-side here with Alan Pajari. That is for the 37 to pick up 7th place. So Brian Conklin's not done just yet. Dynamic Autosports, Alan Pajari, he's going to fall a little bit further back, but this is a good run for him and his teammate Austin Fitzgerald. They're both looking to cap off a top 10 day. Tyler Marble has had a pretty good day. I think he had a little bit more speed in the car than what it was able to show, but in the long run, he must not have because he has fallen back to 6th. Adrian Watt says, wish I could have made it. Would have gave him a run tonight. Absolutely. We were just talking about you for the last 5 minutes or so in the broadcast. Well, not last 5 minutes, but we brought you up a couple times talking about probably the man that's had the best chance so far against Joshua Watson. Of course, you guys have similar setups on the same team, but hasn't had to worry about you here tonight. He's got the job done all by himself. 227 says Fitzgerald go. And now Austin Fitzgerald has that gap down to 2 seconds with 5 laps to go. We will see if Austin Fitzgerald can maybe pick up one more position. He's got a little bit of lap traffic kind of impeding his efforts right now, but I think it's going to be really, really close. 4 laps to go, though. It's going to be a tough break. He's going to have to really start to hustle the 74 machine if he wants to get it done. And Jeff Marble, you know, again, solid finish, solid long-run car, which allowed him to get that solid finish. He does this week in and week out, and if we had more races that would go green the way this one has, I think we would have already seen Jeff Marble in victory lane a couple times. And I think we would have seen him with the points lead, but Joshua Watson didn't get the pole tonight, but that's not really been uncharacteristic for him. Not necessarily the fastest guy all the time when it comes to qualifying, but race trim, forget about it. He has been lights out more races than I can count. 3 laps to go. He is trying to hustle his way around 2 more times so he can grab the white flag, and this race can be official. It's good timing. So I think we are getting ready to have the power go out here back in the Ghost Racing studio, if you will. He's coming up on a little lap traffic here, though, with 2 to go. He's got to make sure he maneuvers through these nice and carefully. You don't expect him to have any issue. Working his way now to the inside of Todd Sherrill. Only 2 more lap cars ahead of him. Not sure if he'll catch him or not. The only battle left on the track right now that I can see is probably going to be between Austin Fitzgerald, Jeff Marble. Everybody else has gotten everything sorted out. Single file. Where you are is where you're going to finish at this point. Unless you are these two, Austin Fitzgerald has that gap now between him and Jeff Marble down under 2 seconds. He's just not going to have enough time, though. I think if he doesn't make that mistake on pit road, not only does he pass Jeff Marble, maybe he's got a shot at Joshua Watson. Either way, he didn't have enough. White flag one more time around for Joshua Watson. Led over 100 laps here tonight. The 01 machine, though, only wants to lead one more. Going to add yet another win to his season if he can. Jeff Marble with a good run tonight. Austin Fitzgerald as well. JBR Racing, they still have not really been able to find any of their other teammates in victory lane. Not yet. But it doesn't matter because Joshua Watson has just about got a win, plus a couple more for every teammate on the team. Out of turn 4 for the final time at Chicagoland. Joshua Watson gets the job done. The 01 wins another race. And we went 134 laps under green flag racing. Phenomenal job. Hats off to all these guys. Interviews are going to be a little bit quicker than usual tonight, again, with impeding weather in the area here back home. So we're going to get right to your top 3, and then we will be right back. Stick with us. Back live here at Chicagoland Raceway. Joshua Watson continues to burn it down. But here in the booth, we got 3rd place finisher Austin Fitzgerald. Austin, got a copy.
Hey, Austin, I got you.
Well, another good finish. But first, I want to ask you, man, if there wasn't that mistake on pit road, what could have been?
I think maybe I would have had a chance to battle for the win there. I mean, I feel so stupid for doing that. But Yeah, I don't know. I locked it up, as you could see, and I was just lucky to make pit road. But yeah, if it weren't for that, I have to go back and see how much time I lost. I know Josh beat me by 5 seconds, but I don't know. It at least probably would have been good for a P2 if I hadn't done that. But I guess I'll take another P3. I mean, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse at this point.
Well, I think it's a blessing because you have been consistent week in and week out. Another podium finish before we let you go tonight. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
As always, I thank my wife Vanity, my kids, Emma Jane, and Indy Cash. I thank Dynamic Autosports. I especially thank Alan. Alan actually went to work on this set. He basically built this set from scratch. I just basically gave a little bit of feedback, but I mean, if it weren't for Alan building this set, I definitely would have been competitive out there. So huge shout out to him and just the rest of the team. And thanks for Jeff and Tyler putting this on. And thank you, Austin, for the great podcast.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me up in the booth. One more congratulations on third place for Austin Fitzgerald in the 74 car.
Thank you.
Now we're going to bring up second place finisher, and that's Mr. Jeff Marble. Jeff, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. Austin, how are you?
Good. Well, hey, for the first time this season, we had a race that went green all the way, and it showed your talent because a ton of long runs. Man, you finished second tonight.
Yeah, I finally had a great qualifying effort. Week in and week out, I'm always stuck in the middle on back because I poop my pants during qualifying. So it was great to have a great qualifying run tonight. I'm like, ooh, I might have something for him. I know I think I had a race-winning set. I just overdrove it the first run, and then out adjusted myself for the second and third run and made it too loose. So then he ended up checking out. So I beat him twice earlier this week in some practice races. I don't know. He just got the job done. I didn't.
Well, hey, either way, a solid run here tonight, finishing second. Before we let you go, is there any you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Oh, as always, Alloy wheel repair specialist out of Richmond, Virginia, butt kicker, iRacingIFlight.com, Fast Eddie's Hot Rods out of Cato, New York, Capital Auto Group. Shoot, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody else. Of course, Ghost Racing Network and you doing a fabulous job. I'm sure it was exciting up there for a little while, and then it just got into a lull. But I tried to put on a show for you. Me and Ty did, but we did the best we could.
Well, it was certainly fun to watch. You were fun to watch all night. Congrats on the second place finish.
Thank you.
Jeff Marble, second place finish. Let's bring up your winner tonight. How about it, Mr. Joshua Watson? Josh, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Adding on another win to the season. Again, so dominant here tonight. Did you think you were going to be that fast in the long run?
We had a feeling that our long run pace was going to be pretty good. We had worked on this all week. Ever since last Monday's race, we had been hammering down on this setup. Knew that this was going to be one of the races that we could take advantage of if we worked on the setup real good. And can't thank Ryko enough, kind of stepping in and helping out when and where he could. But other than that, just all the guys from the team, the time and effort. I mean, we probably had, I don't know, 15 plus hours in this setup throughout the whole week coming into the night. So it just went into a lot of teamwork and a lot of effort went into this one.
Well, I can tell, and it certainly paid off here tonight. Last mile and a half that we head to here for a couple races. Well, before we have a bye week, I guess, then we head to Atlanta. Going to be a little bit of a different feel. You think you're ready to go for a super speedway?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Our team is very good at working together on super speedways. We did really good at Daytona. We did pretty decent at Dega, and Atlanta's a different animal. It's hard to really teamwork there with the way the track races and the way the runs are, but we were able to come out good finishes on all of them. So I think we're pretty well set, and like I said, we're just looking forward to taking it week by week, and hopefully we can just keep the momentum and good finishes rolling for all of us.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you go tonight, is anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I'd like to thank out my family, my girlfriend, my kids, my mom, my dad, my brother, also my teammate, Richard, Adrian, who couldn't be here, and Danny, who couldn't be here, my teammates there. Ryko for the setups, Glasgow Volunteer Fire Department, Butt Kicker, Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist, everybody that helps out on his truck league side. We've ran a couple races over there. You guys for putting on the broadcast. Like I said, week in and week out, always go back and watch it and have a blast. absolute blast watching the broadcast. So can't thank you enough for that. And Tyler and Jeff for putting on the league.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for talking to us, and congrats on yet another win this season.
Thank you.
How about it? Joshua Watson, your winner here tonight. Chicagoland bringing it home second. Jeff Marble, Austin Fitzgerald in third. Jeffrey Souza fourth. Sean Kaltenbach fifth. Tyler Marble in sixth. It's going to be Brian Conklin in seventh. Alan Pajari eighth. Andrew Nieder ninth. Kyle Oakley 10th. Jacob Musso in 11th. Matthew Cox 12th. Jeff Shutt 13th. Richard Elliott 14th. Bill Benedict in 15th. Jared Bundy 16th. Andrew Russo 17th. Johnny McCulchuk 18th. It's going to be Thomas O'Hara 19th. And Ryan Haynes rounds out your top 20. Tracy Powers 21st. Ryan Shiro 22nd. Andrew Kotska 23rd. Cody Matthews 24th. Cody Richardson 25th. Bringing it home in 26th tonight. It's going to be Scott Glasso 27th. Andy Tico, Todd Shiro 28th. Glenn Grigsby 29th. And Brian Watson rounding out the field tonight in 30th. Well, I hope everybody did enjoy the broadcast tonight. I appreciate you all spending your Monday night with me here. And the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series, we will see them back next week at Nashville Super Speedway. Until then, have a good one.